So yesterday we completed writing endpoints, right? Retrieving the data, updating the data, and saving the data, and deleting the data, right? So till that we have completed. So let's add some of the common functionality. For example, um, let's try to add uh, Open API integration and AOP, right? Each method, how much time it is taking to execute, right? So yeah, so let's do add that. It is just a matter of adding, loading the
Import
class,
open it.
then import, loading application configuration. Okay, I think we have not added.
No, no, we didn't add the dependency.
Yes. So let's add the dependency. Go to accessory form.xml file. Add the dependency and just go to application class. Okay, I think I'm trying to import that in the controller. Let's not do that. Let's go to application class and import, import application configuration configuration.net, right? So automatically AOP, filtering, Open API, right? So these features should be enabled. But before that, what should we do? We have to do a small change in the AOP file. Let's go to AOP. Okay, so here we are enabling separately, right? So msk.mobile, msk.country, and let's do the same for accessory, right? So let's just quickly copy paste this. Say, so this is all methods in mobile.
Dot accessory, I think so. msk.mobile.accessory.
Uh, msk dot, yeah, sorry, mobile dot accessory. You're right. Dot mobile dot accessory. I think then it is not required because we are already doing mobile star star, right? So then it will work.
Yeah.
Dot it's msk dot accessory. Then only we need to add. But as we are already doing msk dot and we are putting dot dot, right? So it will cover for all the subfolders. So which includes MSK mobile accessory also, right? So it's also whenever we are running an application, it, it is like a single package, right? So it will consider as a sub package to mobile. So it should work. So let's try that out. Let's go to mobile accessory application. Just right click, run as Java application. Okay, there is some problem. Java x.servlet.filter. Java x.servlet.filter. Yes. Mm, okay. I think it's added in the form.xml file. Let's remove this code provided. Run mobile access. And I will tell you why we got that exception while we are running this only accessory, right? Only while we got that exception while running only accessory. I will tell you. So meanwhile, let me open the material, right? a moment. Let me check whether I started. Right. Okay. Yes, let's open React to Spring Reflex documentation. Yes. Okay, still we are getting exception. Cannot resolve placeholder app title. Okay. Um, we need two parameters, right? Each application has two parameters, app title and app description, right? So let's copy these two. Okay. Let's not force, right? Let's not force if any one of the application is not having app title, let's not force. um, let's have a default app title. Okay? Where we have common, in the common, let's, okay, we don't have resources folder. Let's quickly create a resources folder. um, File, sorry, it's not file, it's a folder. First let's create resources folder. Not break the application if the Open API documentation name is failed. So let's create some default application properties. Yes. So let's have some default name and type, right? So microservice application description also microservice.
The common also, are we using it?
Hmm?
Common we are not using, right? It's app title or description.
No. Okay, there is an exception thrown, right? App title is missing because
Yeah,
let me complete. Okay, one second. So whenever we are running accessory, so Spring is expecting that these two parameters should be there, right? So how we should write the code whenever somebody is using mobile common, okay? So we should not force. I mean, we should not force to do any dependence, right? So that's why if if your application is not going to have these two parameters, that's fine. There is a default support is going to be given. So it loads application.properties file, mobile common application.properties file, and it shows this default name. So when the the corresponding microservice has to load this, when the corresponding microservice has to load this, when they don't like this naming convention, right? So when they want a different name, right? When they want a different name, then only they have to override. So that's how your dependencies should be built. Okay, we should not force anyone to do some configuration. Okay, because it's a common. By adding the dependency, it should work automatically, right? As it is common, by adding the dependency, it should work automatically. So when we should ask these guys, right? When we should ask our microservices to override this configuration when they don't like, right? When they don't like the default naming convention. So what I will do, I will just delete it. Yeah. Now you can ask your question. Sorry.
I was saying like where we are using this app title in common we didn't use, right? So why? Okay. So you are saying in common if we don't give, then it will give issue in the parents. That's what.
So here we are using.
Okay. 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 App title. Okay. Okay. For open API we are using.
Yeah,
Okay.
these two for open API.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so let me start mobile accessory application. Now you see it should not break. It should load that open API documentation with whatever the details we have in the common, right? So let's still go. Um, okay, application application.properties. So let me check
There
whether
is some warning on the resources folder.
it's I think it's not there in the class path. Um, let's add that resources folder in the class path. Okay. What is the warning? Yeah, it's a customized message, right? So it's not string predefined, so that's why it is showing that warning. Yeah. So let's go ahead and start the service. So I think it's thrown and it's I mean the application is throwing error because SRC main resource it's not part of class path, right? Could not resolve placeholder app title. It's app title. It's common SRC main resources application or properties file. Hmm, why why this is not loading? Microservice application, microservice, it's fine. Um, app title. So we have our own properties file. It's okay. We also have the common properties file. Still it's okay. App title. So this is Spring Boot application. We put these two here. It will work fine. Okay, I know what is the problem here. Okay, I know what is the problem. Um, I'll tell you. I'll tell you this. But before that, I just want to confirm why this is not loaded. Application.properties and it's part of SRC main resource. Okay, and we gave some name. Why it's not loading common properties file? Let's go to mobile service. Let's remove these two from here for now temporary. Start mobile service application. And so still it's failing here. Let me do have an update. Maybe added a new folder, right? Do we need any update? Let me check. It should work. I tried this. It should work. So let's start this application. Common SRC new resources. Okay, I will check this part and let you know why it's not working. Okay, I will check that after some time. Okay, for now, let's not stop. Okay, let's keep the Right? Mobile accessory, service description, microservice application. Now, yeah. So anyway, this now this placeholder is a not a showstopper, but still I'm trying to when I'm trying to run mobile accessory application. Okay, so there is another error is going to throw. Okay, there is another error is going to be thrown. To resolve this error, what should we do? We should go to common and we should stop this filter, right? So we should stop this filter configuration for now. Let's go to configuration. Okay, just try to uncomment these two. Okay, application. Okay, so still what is this? Unable to start web server. Unable to start servlet web service factory. Servlet web service factory. Okay, so we have aspect. We have okay, move to common. We are importing and business resources. Actually, I know why this error is coming, but I'm just trying to stop it. Then I will let you know. I just want to start the server. Okay, that's why I'm just checking. Okay, so let's try to provide the solution for this. Okay, I'll tell you why the problem is coming. Okay, so let's go to mobile accessory. Just just for now, comment this one line, right? So import, right? Just remove that common dependency. Whatever we have yesterday, let's try to run that code. Okay, just focus on the console. You see a different server is going to be registered. Okay, it's not okay. So we deleted this. Let's go back to yesterday's code and try to run. Let's go to yesterday's code. Try to run the code. Yes, it's starting. Okay, it is connecting to MongoDB. Fine. Yes, look at this line. Okay, so here to run Spring Webflex or Spring Reactive code. So the server, whatever we are going to use, is a different server, right? So from today, the server is going to change. It's a native server, right? So there are so many servers Spring Boot is going to support. I hope you know about Tomcat, right? Tomcat. So Underdog and Netty like that. So there are so many servers are there. So Netty also is one of the Java server. Netty also is one of the Java server. But the difference is Netty server is not a servlet container, right? So Netty server is not going to have a servlet container. So there is no servlet concept in Netty at all. Okay, so there is no servlet concept in Netty at all. So then how the flow is going to work? If there is no servlet, right? Till now, whatever we are learning in Spring MVC, right? So it is like, it's all like the flow goes to dispatcher servlet, from dispatcher servlet it goes to handler mapping, handler adapter, then it will execute a controller method, right? So that is what we are learning till today. But whenever we are entering into Spring Web Flex, okay, whenever we are entering into Spring Web Flex, the flow will change a little bit. Okay, the flow will change a little bit. Okay, so we don't have a servlet concept. Okay, with the default code base, we don't have a server concept. Okay, servlet concept, sorry, servlet concept. So it's going to be netty. Going forward, we are going to use netty server. Okay, so the flow is like this. When we send a request, it goes to reactive streams entry, right? So entry is a reactive streams. Netty server is the entry point. From there, it will go and execute if there is a filter configured. Then it goes to web handler. Okay, so the terminology will change a little bit. Web handler, and from here it goes to controller, and functional. Right. So no servlet here. So let me also open the documentation. Bring oh, go to reference documentation. Go to reactive. Okay. Yes. Let me scroll down. Here you see a different model. Okay, different model. Um, it all starts with, yeah, so this is how it looks like, Spring MVC and Spring Webflex. So Spring MVC, whatever we have, you see the Tomcat, Jetty, and Undertow are only dedicated to Spring MVC, but we can use Tomcat also for Webflex. But the default server is Netty server, right? So the default server is Netty server, but it is a combination of these two concepts. You can use Tomcat, Jetty, and Undertow, but the default server is Netty, so we need to change that. So that's the reason why we are not able to see that servlet, right? Servlet class is not found, like that. It is throwing error, and it is not able to start servlet, right? It is not able to start servlet. Okay. And there are some pros and cons are there, like when to use Spring Webflex and when not to use Spring Webflex. For example, if your Spring MVC application is working fine, then there is no need to, there is no need to change it to Webflex, right? If you have an application which is working fine and there are no issues, then don't do any changes, because the way we write the code in MVC, Spring MVC, is called imperative model, right? The for loop, if conditions, for each loop, right? So those code, the way of writing the code is called imperative programming. So imperative programming is easy to write, easy to understand, and easy to debug. I hope you agree with this part, right? So
Yes.
Spring MVC application is easy to write, easy to understand, and easy to debug. Okay, because we are doing the way of writing the code for so many couple of years, so we feel comfortable, right? So we feel comfortable, and we have a lot of experience working in the Spring MVC, right? Spring Boot MVC. So we it has, it make us to feel more readable, right? So it is make us to feel more readable. Yes. Okay. um, like how, in the sense, I will tell you one example. Okay, I will tell you one small natural example. Okay, so I have a friend. He has married recently, and there is a small fight is going on, right? So the like his wife is asking to go out and separation, right? So separation, because she is not comfortable with his parents. So obviously, right? Obviously, it happens because for so many years she is living with her parents, and all of a sudden she is coming into new family, and she is not able to accommodate. So the same model, right? So we are being into so many days into Spring MVC, right? So we are into this family. All of a sudden we are shifting into a new family, Spring Webflex. Yes, we may feel little uncomfortable. Yes, initially it happens, right? We need to adjust a little bit and start slowly adapting the things, like how the things are happening, right? But it was not happened anyway. In my friend family, it was not happened. Somehow he is able to manage her, and she make her to understand, and slowly she adapted. after 2 years, actually there are two persons are there, like brothers, like two brothers, and after, I mean, these days they want to separate. Actually, the brothers want to separate, but she is not ready to go out. Like, initially she told we will separate, but now she is not ready, right? So it's like that. It's the same scenario. Like when we entered very first time into Spring Webflex, we will also feel okay. Spring MVC, we have been into so many years like that, but after you started using it, playing with it, right? So there are so many issues will come, understanding these new concepts and new um, functionalities, right? But you started using it and adapting those things, you really feel the enjoy, right? So the statement from Spring also say, right? So we are doing the same functionality, right? So we were writing this code for so many years. So of course you feel comfortable, you feel easy to write, you feel you can understand easily, right? So that the code debugging also pretty easy. Okay. So if you have an application which is working fine, let's not do any changes. Okay, then go for the next use case, right? So if you have already some shopping application for a non-blocking, right? So like Webflex or some other execution model, and if your front end is like RX Java, and I mean which is reactive front end, then it's better to shift it into, like, there might be a choice. Like for example, now you are going to start a fresh project, and your front end is moving into reactive programming, right? So if your front end is moving into reactive programming and you got a chance to upgrade your application, then there might be some chance. Okay, if you are, why there might be some chance, because in a big organization, like any big organization, any project development, like there are hundreds of developers will be involved, right? So you should also consider learning scope for the team. It's not like one or two persons, right? So you should also consider like 100 people, how fastly they can adapt this new technology, and how they can write a better code, right? Because like four or five people good in Spring Webflex, and like 95 people, or for example 100 people are working on the project, four or five people are good in Spring Webflex, and Spring MAC 95 people are good. So it is kind of risk, right? So I mean, trusting those four or five people and implementing the complete application in Spring Webflex might be risk, right? Might be risk, because already we have 95% of the expertise in Spring MVC. So you have only 5%, right? You have only 5%. So these 5% people cannot manage all the criteria, because everyone should write at least 40 to 50% is good. Then there might be some good code will be delivered, right? So 4 or 5% people cannot manage 95% people coding style, right? So you should also consider the team learning criteria, right? And how fastly they adapt, and how much the best code can be delivered. Because yesterday we saw, right? So every line, every call you make it, it's going to get you're going to get a mono and flex. So you should be very careful with dealing with the Spring Webflex. Okay, so that is also another criteria you should keep in mind. Okay, but there is one case where you are interested in lightweight functional web programming. It's very important, functional web programming, because there is no servlet API, but with the default Spring Webflex, the server is native, so uh, there is no servlet API. It's a pure lightweight, pure open source framework, and with Java 8 functional programming, right? Java 8 lambdas and functional programming, or Kotlin. So Spring Webflex is actually open for, right? So if you are interested doing an application which is lightweight functional web programming, and your basic JDK is 1.8, and you want to write an application with full of lambdas, with full of Java 8 lambdas, then Spring Webflex is it's completely suitable for. Okay, and in microservices architecture, Spring Webflex is option, because memory is a considerable point, and moreover, I mean, there are criteria, right? For example, in your microservice, if your database is Oracle, then you cannot use Spring Reflex because at this point of time, reactive programming support is not available, right? From Java, reactive programming support is not available for Oracle, MySQL, right? So IBM DB2, right? There are so many databases out there. For those databases, we don't have support from Spring Reflex, so you should design properly. Okay, but you have an application which doesn't have any database, which makes calls to some other services, get the response and give it right. So let's go to the diagram. Yeah, this one, right? So you make remote service calls, only remote service calls, where you don't have any database. Yes, Reflex is suitable, but when you have a database, right? When you have a database, then you should also consider whether this database supports reactive programming or not. Because when you start writing reactive programming, it has to be reactive from end to end, right? It has to be reactive from end to end. So you choose one JavaScript framework which supports reactive programming. Java also reactive programming, but your JDBC API is not reactive, then there is no use. Okay, so it has to be reactive end to end. So you should be very careful. Even in microservices architecture, it is highly recommended. In microservices architecture, it is highly recommended. But you should consider the right technical stack, right? So based on the technical stack, you should take the decision whether you want to go to Spring MVC or Spring Web. Okay.
Sunil, like, right now we have like database support for MongoDB, SQL Server, and things like that.
Can you speak
Any other
little
database?
louder? Sharath, right?
Yeah, yeah. So right now we have database support for Spring with MongoDB, SQL Server.
Yes. So right now the databases which are supporting MongoDB is one of them, no doubt at all. There is a new framework which is recently introduced just 1 month back, R2DBC, reactive relational database connectivity, just extension to the JDBC API, but it's pure like 1 month baby, right? How can we, I mean, organizations can trust it, right? Just it's like very basic. If any module, like some particular module where we don't have any customer impact, right? So in that area, you can start try using it. This also supports at this point of time only Postgre, H2 database, and Microsoft SQL Server, right? So Microsoft SQL Server. So only 3 databases we have support. That too, it is just very latest. Let's go to the Spring data. Right? So let's go to Spring data. So this R2DBC we have. It supports three databases at this point of time. If you just go to learn, just go to the reference documentation. Um, it's a very latest, not even a month. I think might be 2 months or 3 months. I don't know exact date. I was just following it, right. 2025 12, not even a month. I told it, it's not even a month.
Yeah.
By this 12th, it's going to be 1 month baby. So you should decide a technology which is in the market, just not even a month completed. Are you ready to use in your company, right? So it's decision taken by the security team, and there are so many concerns, right? But is there any module where we don't have any customer impact and transaction is not that much important? If anything goes wrong, we have some kind of backup like that. Like that, you find something, yes, you can start using. But for sure, maybe up in the future, this section will elaborate a lot. R2DBC and Spring Data R2DBC. Why we did cover this? Because it's just not even a month completed, right? So that's why we didn't go through this. Like maybe in the future, maybe after next couple of trainings, this may be included. Okay, so yeah, yes. At this point of time, this is what is the support.
Yeah, got it. So Neo4j right now there is no support. Right now, if you want.
MongoDB it supports. Your voice is completely. Okay.
4J, so there is no support, right?
For which database?
Neo 4Js.
Yeah, Neo4j there is no support at this point. Yes, there is no support. Okay. Um, yeah. So yeah, we discussed, right. If you have a large team, keep in mind like learning curve for the team. So there are so many use cases you should keep in mind. Okay, because it's completely a new model of writing the code. But I'm telling you, the companies are started using this reactive programming. Most of the companies are using where they don't have mostly the database interaction. There might be some layer where we don't have any database connectivity much, and so it's being used now. Okay, so Spring Reflex, it's there in the market. Companies are using. They have huge demand now. Okay, so Spring Reactive Programming, Spring Reflex, it's a huge demand. So it's a value added to you guys, but it's like in incubation stage, right? Uh, so whatever we are learning now after 6 months, it won't be like this. It will be like drastically changing, right? So like 1 year or 6 months, like 6 months or 1 year, you see there are so many huge changes are going to be introduced in this place, right? In this section. So so you should consider all these use cases, and you should take the decision what is suitable. But anyway, so what is the flow here? We discussed with the default server netty, there is no servlet, right? So with the default server netty, there is no servlet. So let's go step by step. So what are all the servers it supports? So the default server is netty, right? So the default server is going to be netty server. So performance, of course, this is going to be performed better when we compare with Spring MVC. Okay, and yeah, so this is what an introduction for reactive code. Okay. So the flow all starts with a class called an interface called HTTP handler. Okay, HTTP handler, and at this point of time, these are the servers which are supporting this API, right? So we have Netty server, we have Undertow, we have Tomcat, we have Jetty server, right? So there are a couple of servers are supporting, and the minimum version of servlet we needed is servlet 3.1. Okay, servlet 3.1. So let me check what version of dependency we added in the common. So I think it should be more than 3.1, I believe. Yeah, we didn't specify any version, right? So that's four anyway. So the minimum version we required for the minimum version of servlet we need is 3.1, and let me quickly tell you what exactly is going to be happening. Okay, so the flow all starts with here whenever we are starting the Netty server, and with Spring Reactive default code, it goes to dispatcher. Okay, dispatcher. If it is MVC, it is servlet. As it is Reflex, getting into dispatcher handler. Dispatcher handler. So which implements web handler interface. It is a functional interface. It has only one method. Okay, it has only one method handle, right? So the entry point is this dispatcher handler, and it's going to be entered, right? So it's going to be entered into handle method. So we are implementing web handler, so we should provide implementation for handle method. So here is the starting point, right? So no servlet request, no servlet response, no service method. Okay, no service method. It's a pure functional programming. It's a pure functional programming, and the starting point is dispatcher handler handle. Dispatcher handler handle method. So while you are starting the servlet, while you are starting the server itself, all the mappings, right? So this is already known terminology, right? Handler mapping, handler adapter, right? So the result handler will automatically load it at the time of server starting itself. At the time of server starting itself. So it's going to yeah. So when there is a request comes, so it get into handle method, and it will identify the appropriate mapping. It will identify appropriate mapping. I mean, for which request, which controller needs to be executed. For which request, which controller needs to be executed. So that particular mapping is going to be identified here, and it's given to the handler, right? So mapping will get the we will get the mapping, and once we get the mapping, we hand it over to handler adapter. The handler adapter will go and execute, right? Will go and execute that controller method, and the final result is going to be taken care by result handler. So these the terminology is little different here: handler mapping, handler adapter, and result handler. So a handler mapping is going to be used to identify the map. Okay, for this request, which controller, which method has to be executed, it's going to be identified there. Once it is been identified, right? Once it's identified, then the method is going to be executed, right? That method is going to be executed by handler adapter. Then the result is going to be generated by result handler, right? Very important. There is no servlet with the default Spring Flex. There is no servlet concept. There is no servlet concept. It all going to be like a simple functional programming, and it's going to scan all the packages and sub packages. Okay, it's going to scan all the packages and sub packages, and it register all the request mappings. It is going to register all the request mappings, and that mappings are going to be part of handler mapping. Okay, so when there is a request comes, the flow will be entered into handle method. We will debug. We will put a breakpoint and we will debug. Okay, the flow will be coming into handle method. So based on the request mapping, it will identify which controller, which method has to be executed. Okay, once it's identified, it gives chance to handler adapter. It gives chance to handler adapter. Handler adapter will execute that method. Handler adapter will execute that method, and the final result is going to be generated by result handler. Okay, result handler. So we will add a breakpoint here. Okay, we'll add a breakpoint, couple of breakpoints here. So when we send a request, you see, so this is what is the starting point, and whenever we are starting server, you see that init strategies are going to be rendered, and handler adapter, it's the same handler adapter whatever we have in the Spring MVC. Okay, that just the package name is going to be changed, right? So handler adapters, what handler adapters we have? I know it's very tough to remember, right? So request mapping handler adapter for annotations, and we have handler function, right? So we have handler function for functional program. So what handler mappings we have in the Spring MVC? So handler mapping, handler mapper or mapping. So what handler mappers we have? Request uh, request mapping, handler mapping. Right? So handler mapping or mapper. Then I don't remember the exact name. Don't worry. Spring don't suggest you to remember all these names. That is the reason why we are using IDEs, right? So Spring suggests to use ID. ID is highly recommended. Even though you are going for certification, they will tell the same thing. Don't remember class names, method names. That is the job of the IDE. So you just need to know what needs to be called and what exactly is going on, right? So for functional programming, we have protocol. The same classes are there here also. It is the same naming convention, just it's a different one. So it's going to be, there is a new class which is going to be present inside reactive programming. So when we do a control to start, you get a couple of the control shift T. So there are two are going to be given, right? So one is in servlet and another one is reactive. So servlet is being used for Spring MVC. Reactive is going to be used for functional programming. So don't get confused. Right? So with the same name, there are two classes are there, but those two are in two different packages. Right? The one which is in servlet, it's going to be used for MVC. The one which is in reactive, it's going to be used for Spring Wave. Even the same concept applicable for this one also, right? Mapper, right? So it's control shift T. I think it's mapping. Yes. So there are two mappings are going to be there. One is in servlets, that is for Spring MVC, and another one is in reactive programming, that is for Spring Workflex. When you see router function is different. So I think there is only one router function. No, there are two router functions, right? There are two router functions. One is for servlet purpose and another one is for reactive purpose. So even I think we have two handler functions. Then in that case, there must be two handler functions. Yes, one is for servlet and another one is for reactive, right? So all these classes are duplicates, right? All these classes are duplicate classes. It's the same naming convention, just a different package, but at very high level, their job is same, right? At very high level, their job is same. So request handler mapping in MVC will take care about mapping the request to corresponding controller. And here also it is same. Handler adapter job is executing the controller method, right? So executing the controller request mapping method. So on top of that, in Spring Webflex, what we have extra handler, right? So handler. So this is what is extra in the Spring MVC. So it's an interface web reactive. Okay, it's a class. Sorry. Okay. So this is going to take care about generating the response into monoflex, right? So this is going to take care of. So only these three are going to play the major role, and there is no servlet here. The flow will be entered into handle. So that is the reason why when we are adding that common, it's throwing that exception. Okay, there is no servlet context created. There is no servlet request created, right? So it's all because of NetEase server. It's all because of NetEase server. So what we will do, we'll start the server, and we will check whether whatever we discussed is correct or not. Let's quickly start the server. Okay, so let me quickly start the server in debug mode. Okay, you see that the flow will be coming into init strategies method. Yes. Okay, so here it is there. It will check for which class which method has to be loaded, right? So let's go to the handler method handle. Okay. Yes, it's going to load all the beans, spring beans, and you see that there are adapters, right? We discussed whatever we discussed. Yes, request mapping, handler function, simple handler adapter is there. That is the default one. Anyway, that's not going to be used. Okay, handler mapping also is the same. So there are three handler mappings are going to be there. Request mapping. The first one is route. Okay, request mapping, handler mapping, router function, simple URL mapping. Yes. So all these are going to be getting ready at the time of application startup time itself. Now let's go to Postman. Okay. So we need to send a HTTP HTTP request, right? So let's get the accessories, right? So localhost 8080 no MSK. Okay. So it's 8082, right? We give 8082. Mobile accessory or mobiles accessory. Yes, mobile accessory only. See, whenever we just send a request, it's going to be entered into handle method. So if handler mappings are not there, we will get exception, but handler mappings are found, there is no problem, right? So it's going to iterate each handler mapping. Okay, it's going to iterate each handler mapping. Okay, it came back, right? It came back, and it's going to get exact handler mapping. Okay, it's going to get exact handler mapping. Yeah, so if there is no mapping found, then it will throw error, but we will get a mapping found. So that's the reason why there is no error thrown. Let's get into this method, invoke handler. Invoke handler. Yes, F6. Okay. Um, let's press F8. Yes, so it will come into invoke handler method. So you see, it will take each handler adapter. It will take each handler adapter what is suitable, right? So we are using annotations. So it's going to choose request mapping handler adapter, right? So it's going to choose request mapping handler adapter. So there is another method, handle method is going to be there in the request mapping handler adapter. So yeah, we just need to go request mapping handler adapter dot handle method. Yes. So the flow will be entered here. Just press F5. Whatever we are seeing, this entire thing is server, inside server. Okay. Uh, F6. I will show you that exact method what it is going to be executed for this URL. Okay. So it will identify which method needs to be executed. Okay, which method needs to be executed. Yes. Okay, so let me put mouse on it. You see what method it's going to be executed for this request? Mobile access,
Accessory controller.
get all mobile accessory, right? So for this, I mean this URL, this method has to be executed like that. The mapping will give, then handler will go and execute it. Okay, you see that it's like mostly the Java reactive programming. So invocable method dot invoke, right? Invocable method dot invoke, but it is not direct Java API, Java reflection API. So it is built on top of Java reflection API, right? So Spring built some other layer on top of Java reflection API, but it is internally Java reflection API is going to be used, and Spring will execute that particular method, right? So just press F8. You see, you will get okay, you'll get the result. Okay, so you get the response. Okay, you get the response. So that is the reason why we are not able to get any servlet support here. But don't worry, we will change the server. We will change the server from Letty to Tomcat. Then we will get support, right? We will get support of servlet. So there is one more proof I can show you. So there is a context path can be given, right? So MSK/MSK can be given, but as we don't have servlet, we cannot set context path here, right? We cannot set context path here. Servlet dot context path. If you are trying to give context path for default, right? By default, if you are trying to give the context path, you will get an exception. If you are trying to give the context path, you will get an exception. While starting the server itself, server will throw an exception saying that no servlet found, something like that. Okay. So initialization callbacks are executing. Okay. Let me stop the server fully. Okay, and start the server. Mobile accessory application. It's showing the server is started. Let's go ahead and hit with MSK. There is no servlet, it should fail, right? There is no servlet, it should fail. Okay, so it will throw an exception saying that it cannot able to process, right? So because it cannot able to register that context part, right? It cannot able to register that context part. So because we don't have any servlet feature in Netty server, right? So that is the reason why we are getting this exception, right? So with the Spring default, okay, with Spring default Netty server, right? So with the Spring default, this one, right? This section. So this section, you don't have any servlet feature. We don't have any servlet feature. So to get the support of servlet filters, right? To get the support of servlet filters, so what should we do? We should use Tomcat server. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's get into the pom.xml file. Let's get into the pom.xml file and let's exclude. Okay, let's exclude Netty server, right? So let's exclude Netty server. So what should we do? We should say scope provided. Okay, and it's I think reactive netting. I don't remember that exact name. Spring Boot starter reactive netting. We will check reactor or reactive netting. We'll do one thing. Let's Google it. Let's get the exact starter name, right? So reactor, not reactive, right? So reactor netting. So it's a reactor netting. So we are not going to use reactor netting. So we are going to use starter Tomcat, right? So Tomcat we are going to use. So after changing this, you see that the Tomcat is going to be added. Okay, the Tomcat is going to be added. Fine. So I think it's a scope provided, I believe. Let's try this out. Okay. Let's start the application. From now onwards, we will get our old servlet support. Okay. We need some filters, right? So some common filters. So that's why we are moving it. Now you see Tomcat web server, right? Tomcat web server is coming into the picture. And now if I go to browser and send the same request, it's going to work because we configured some context path, right? What's happening? Unexpected error 404. So Tomcat initialized port 8082. Fine. Tomcat. Okay, context path is empty. Why context path is empty? Which property?
No, you won't have gave that MSK, right? You given.
I think let's try to let's check again whether we are using a proper uh, okay, servlet dot context path equals to slash msk. Let's wait for a moment. The server is going to restart, and when starting server itself, it should say what is the context path. Okay, I think context path is not registering. Why? Let's try to do a run as fresh run as. Still it's empty. Why is it's coming as empty? Port 8082 with context path hyphen. Okay, let's enable common configuration now. Let's enable common configuration, which is going to work fine. Let's go to pom.xml file and add the common dependency. Okay, so now our filter and everything is going to get work. Just add this dependency, common dependency. Let's go to accessory. Okay, so just add these dependencies. I think there is some code we commented, right? So there is some code we commented. Let's go to configuration. So let's enable the filter code. Let's enable the filter code. So the dependency has changed, right? Let's wait till the server is rebooting, or else let's do a Maven update again. Right click, project update, clean. And let's start. Let's do a fresh run as. Um, we added in the form.xml file. That's why it's the form. One second. Let me close the project and reopen. It will build automatically. So the dependency should be resolved. Why in form.xml file we added common, right? Oh, where did we add then? We copy pasted, right? Common is not there. Let's do copy paste for one more time. Let's do it. I think by mistakenly did we copy in no, a common? No, right? We didn't copy it in common, right? So let's paste com. Oh, I'm copying MySQL. Okay. Where is the common? Yeah, here it is. Copy. Just to copy the common, go to accessory form.xml file, paste it. Now you see that error will be resolved automatically. Yes. Okay. And just to right click, run as Java application. Okay. So application is going to be started on Tomcat. Okay. Resource bundle locator. Resource bundle locator, dev tools, validator. I think validator is part of Spring MVC, Spring framework. Okay, I got it. Okay, this problem is coming with the latest version of Spring Boot. Okay, so this problem is coming with the latest version of Spring Boot. What I will do, I will right. The proof is this. In parent, we are using 2.2.7. If I just copy paste, anyway, we have to make accessory as child to parent. Okay, so this issue is coming with the latest version of Spring Boot. I think there are some package level changes would have happened. No problem. So after adding this, after updating the parent, just do a Maven update, right? So just do a Maven update. Okay, so let's start the application. Okay, let's start the mobile service application. This time it should start. So Tomcat is started and context path MSK, right? It's working now. Yes. Let's go to let's clear. Okay, let's go to browser and send the request. You will get the response, and you see AOP, frame filter, everything is going to get work. Okay, so AOP is working, and filter also it's working, right? AOP working and filter also it's working. So be very careful with this one, guys. Okay, so defaultly by default it's not going to work because it's a netty server. By default it's not going to work because it's a netty server. So most of the code whatever we are writing, it's a Tomcat supportable code, right? So that's why it's failing with netty. Okay, now let's try to access the Swagger UI. http:// localhost 8082. Okay, localhost 8082 and MSK, no MSK required. Right? I think I think MSK is context path is required. Let's send context swagger UI HTML. So it's a mobile this one, right? Mobile accessory microservice application, mobile accessory service description. Okay, so these are the methods are available now. Get we can just try this out, try it out and execute. You get all the accessories whatever we have in the TV, right? So the same way, let's go to ID, mobile accessory by ID. So let's copy this ID and put it in the get by ID. So you will get, I think it's a, yesterday we made them active false. It's supposed to be changed. Fine. Let's go to execute. You need to give ID and execute. You will get that corresponding mobile accessory information, right? So it's very important, guys. So whenever we are integrating with a common with a mobile accessory, it won't be working out, right? It won't be working out. It will give so many errors. It will throw so many errors. Okay, because it's just because of the default architecture of Spring Web Flex, right? It's just because the default architecture of Spring Web Flex. So we should, earlier we were here, now we moved into this place, right? So we are using the common thing which can work for MVC and which can also work for Spring Web Flex, right? So
Okay.
so we are here now. We are using Tomcat, but native won't be supporting for MVC. So that is the reason why whatever the features we made them common. Okay, whatever the features we made them common, those are not.
But Sunil, most of the Spring application will be MVC model, right? Then where we can use Native if it is not supporting it?
Webflex.
Oh, Webflex. Okay. 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 Integration, it is not working.
Yes, integration model, it's not going to work. So that's why we change it to Tomcat. Okay. So this is very important, guys. And when you go to the documentations, most of the times you see handler, HTTP handler. Okay. So don't get confused. We debug the application, right? So where it goes and how it happens, right? So the default class is HTTP handlers. That is with reactive core. When we jump into Spring Web Flex, right? So it's all going to start with a dispatcher handler, right? So in Spring Web Flex, there is no dispatcher servlet. There is no dispatcher servlet. It's going to be dispatcher handler going forward, right? It's going to be dispatcher handler going forward, and we don't need to worry. Whatever the features we have, right? The controller advice, the exception handling, controller advice, right? So those things will work. At exception handler, at controller advice will also work for Spring Web Flex. So we no need to learn that separately. Okay. So whatever the features we have, right? That error handling, right? Error handling, validation messages. So all those features will work as is for Spring Web Flex. There is no problem because all those are Spring features, right? The only particular part which is missing with the default Spring Web Flex model is servlet API, right? Servlet API. Yes. So let's quickly check whether with the Tomcat server also it's the same flow or not. It's the same flow. There is no doubt at all. Again, the flow will be coming into handle method only. From here, it goes to um, uh, request mapping handler adapter. Okay. So request mapping handler adapter. So sorry, it's a control shift key, right? So request mapping handler adapter. Yes, all capital letters. The searching will work. You just go there. You can able to find one handle method. So it will come into this handle method, and from there it goes to corresponding controller. Once the controller execution done, then it goes to handler result. Okay. So let me stop this server and start in debug mode. Just a confirmation, right? So we changed the server. Just I want you to prove that it's the same flow, right? Nothing is going to be changed. Yes. Okay, fine. Started. Now let's go to this and just enter mobile accessory, right? Just enter mobile accessory. You see the flow will be jumping into. Oh, I started. We started in normal mode or debug mode. Like it's a debug mode only, right? It's a debug.
Debug only.
Yeah, then why it's not coming? Okay, let me check where it goes. Let's go to reactive core HTTP handler. Okay, so if it is a netty server, it goes into reactor HTTP handler adapter, and if it is undertow, it goes to undertow HTTP handler adapter. If it is Tomcat, it goes to Tomcat HTTP handler adapter. Okay, then okay, I think these classes override dispatcher handler method, dispatcher handler. Okay, so here we will have a handle method again. See, this is how the server is going to be started. How Tomcat server is going to be started, I will show you. Where it is, where it is. There is somewhere you see Tomcat server start. Let me check. Tomcat server. Go back to this. It's a Tomcat. Let me check where is this code is present. Hmm? Documentation, they are showing something which is not there here. Okay, I think this is being configured somewhere else. HTTP handler. Uh, let's do one, right? So we'll see what are all the places this is being used. Right click, open call hierarchy, get web server. Yes, this is being used here. Yeah, here we go, right? So the Tomcat is the Tomcat server is starting here. The class is Tomcat Reactive Web Server Factory. Okay, Tomcat Reactive Web Server Factory, and here the server is going to be started, right? So here that server is going to be started. So you get the handler adapter and context path, this one. Whenever we are starting the server, it goes here. Fine. This process is going to be happen. So prepare context. Okay, then whatever we learned, it's for netting. Then for Tomcat, where it's going, just check. Servlet HTTP handler adapter, implement servlet. Okay, it's fine. Okay, then it should have service method. Okay, 1 second, guys. It's a servlet API. Abstract handler adapter. So servlet path, init service config service method. Then it should provide implementation for service method, right? Yes, here is the service method. So this is the starting point for Tomcat. Okay, so this is the starting point for Tomcat. So it will come here and it goes to, yeah, HTTP handler dot handle. So what HTTP handler it goes, we will check here. Okay, what HTTP handler it goes, we will check here. So let's add the debug breakpoints. Let's stop it and start the server. Okay, so whatever we are learning, it's too advanced thing. Okay, none of the developers will jump into the server just to understand what architecture is happening. We are just debugging this all this. Okay. Why this is not going into Tomcat code? So as per the documentation, this is the class, and it's going to be this Tomcat reactive web server. Okay, let's put the breakpoint here. Why the code is not coming here? So this is what is the documentation is saying, right? So this is how they will get the handler and they will start the server, and so this is what it's going to be happen. Yes, we found this, but still almost server started. Why it's not enabling me? I don't understand. Okay, so as per the documentation, it should come here. As per the documentation, it should come here. So this is what is the HTTP handler. Okay, so HTTP handler get web server is going to be invoked, right? So get web server is going to be invoked. I think as we are using Tomcat, so it's not coming. It's not coming into this. There might be some other Tomcat is being started. Okay, so there might be some other Tomcat is being started. So that's why it's not getting coming into this code. Okay, but so this is what it's going to be happen when we use Tomcat server, right? So I showed the classes, right? So that is what is the code which is going to be executed. So with the Tomcat Spring Web Flex, okay, Tomcat Spring Web Flex. If you use Jetty server, so there is some other HTTP handler, but it's going to be some HTTP handler which process our request. Okay, I'll see. I'll try anything I can find today. If I found anything, I will try to show tomorrow. Okay. But as per the documentation, this is what is the code which is going to be executed, right? So as per the documentation, so this is what is the code which is going to be executed. Oh, I think we kept the breakpoints in wrong dependency, right? So it's a part of country service. Let's do one thing. Let's close all other unwanted projects, right? I think close projects. Okay. Okay, let's open only accessory. Let's open only accessory. Go to breakpoints. Remove all breakpoints. Um, so let's open this class again. Tomcat HTTP handler adapter. Control Shift R V or Control Shift T. Yes. So so which implements HTTP handler adapter, which has service method, right? So which has the service method. Yeah, when you hit the request, it will come here. Okay, when we send the request, the flow will be coming here. That's fine. Let it come. Okay, but before starting the server, I just would like to show you where is the it's going to be, from where it's going to be called, right? Operation unavailable. Open call hierarchy. It's being called from here. So let's quickly add the breakpoints. Okay, so let's start our server. Yes, we are correctly pointing to correct project dependency now. Okay, we are correctly pointing to correct project dependency now. Let's start the application. Try that out. If it works, fine. If it is not working, yeah. It should work because as per the documentation, uh, no, it's not coming here.
We are loading from the mobile access.
It's a common it's going. So let's send the request and see whether it at least it goes into the service methodology. No. So there is something wrong with our dependency structure. What we will do, we will do a Maven clean install. Okay, let's generate a common project. Okay, Maven jar. We close that project also.
No, Sunil, I think the project is open. That is why it is going there.
So, no, we didn't build it, right? So it will throw error only. MSK mobile form.xml
Parent.
parent. So I click yes, let's first build the parent. Okay, so build done. Let's close the parent. We don't need the parent. Let's try to run common. Yes, it's almost done. Execute code 2.2.7 repackage. Unable to find main class. Okay, got it. So this we don't want build plugin, right? So that's why it's failing. This is causing the issue. Okay, let's delete from here and rebuild main parent, right? So let's rebuild parent first. Let's close the parent. Let's rebuild common. Okay, it's success. Let's close common. Yes. Now let's do Maven update. Okay, now let's try to open Angular adapter. It should come to yes, correct project. So this is being used in reactive. Yes, this is the correct job, right? So this is the correct job. Request mapping handler adapter. What is that class name? Tomcat handler adapter. Sorry. So Control Shift T V. Yes, here it is. So let's check where it's being used. It's being used from here. Okay, so we already have the logs enabled. Okay, let's start in the debug mode. Expect at least this time it should work. Oh, no, there something is going wrong. It's not coming into this code. It's going into somewhere else. No. Okay, so there is something is happening. It's not coming into this code. I see I can identify anything. Okay, as per the documentation, it's supposed to work, right? As per the documentation, it's supposed to work. Let's see, any Tomcat logs are printed here. No. Um, Restarted main. This is my IP and this is the server host. MongoDB host is connected to MongoDB. So this is where it's going. Control Shift T, Tomcat web server. So this is the class and what line number it is. It's I think this is the process ID. There is something printed. Restarted main. So we'll see where we have a logger, right? So initialize. So it's starting here. So the server is starting here. Okay, so I think it's using servlet stack, I believe. Okay, so it's going and starting. The server is being started here. Tomcat server initialize. It will come here. So from here it go and yeah, starting the server, right? So this dot tomcat is start. The server is going to be started. So here is the place the Tomcat is starting. Then standard service, so Tomcat service. So from here it goes to context loader and loading the Spring Boot application and it is starting. Okay. Yeah, I will try, but I cannot guarantee you because there is a huge, I mean, it's a little in deep, right? But I will try. Okay, I will try why it's not coming here. But as per the documentation, it's supposed to be here, right? So it's supposed to be work. Okay, as per the documentation, it's supposed to be here. Okay. So this is what is a major difference till now. Whatever we did and with Webflex and whatever we are going to, right? So be very careful with this thing. Okay, with the default Spring Webflex you are trying, and you are trying to write some servlet API, it won't work, right? Anything. It can be a filter, it can be a servlet, HTTP servlet or generic servlet, service method, any concept with respect to servlet will not work with the default
Getty.
Spring Webflex. Okay, so be very careful, right? So tomorrow when you are going to design a system or whenever you are going to do some architecture, right? So we should keep all these things in mind and consider. We should do the considerable changes. Okay, so if you would like to implement a native Spring Webflex, then you should not use any servlet API. Okay, no filter, nothing. So it's going to be pure functional programming, right? So no more servlet, no more dispatcher servlet, and no more servlet filter also. So those things we should keep in mind, and we should take care about all these things. Okay, yes. So that is the major difference. Okay, and here also, I mean, if you are not using servlet API and you want to build still want the filter, right, filter feature, then you should use web filter concept, not servlet filter. We should use web filter. So this is from Spring. Okay, not from yes. Okay, so we should use this web filter, not servlet filter. Okay, so still you want some filtering logic to be implemented, but this will work only, I mean, with the Spring Web Flex, right? Whatever we wrote, it's a servlet filter, so that's why it's getting into the servlet stack, I believe. But if you want netty server and still you want some filter logic implemented, then we have to use web filter, right? So we need to use some web filter, okay? But anyway, our scenario, it's little different, right? We are using some common technical stack, which needs to be worked for Spring MVC and Spring Web Flex. So that's the reason why we are not using it, okay? But I will show one small example how to use this filter where we don't have any servlet dependency. Okay, I will show a sample example. Okay, so without servlet, if you want filter support, we should use web filter. So this is not from servlet, this is from Spring. Okay, so this is going to be I mean, no dependency with the servlet API, and it's going to work in netty server also. Okay, it will work in netty server also. So this diagram makes a lot of sense, right? So this diagram makes a lot of sense. It is very useful, okay, especially while you are going to start a Spring Web Flex program, and whenever you want to I mean, just there is a discussion is going to be happen, right? If there is a new project which we would like to build using Spring Boot microservices, then you should consider what to choose, MVC or Web Flex. So if it is pure MVC, no doubt it will work. It will work with the servlet API and all the benefits you are going to get. Okay, but the problem is it's a blocking API, right? It's a blocking API. When you want to get the benefit of reactive programming, then you should come to WebFlex. WebFlex also supports like native WebFlex and servlet API supportable WebFlex, but you should choose what exactly is your requirement, right? If you would like to go with the netty server, then you're not supposed to touch any servlet feature, right? We have support for filters, but it's like Spring Web Filter we have to use, right? We need to use Spring Web Filter, not servlet filter. So you should consider all those things, and you should take the decision what, I mean, where you want to implement. You want to implement a native Spring MVC, or you want to implement this native WebFlex, or you want to implement a application which supports both, right? So this section, right? This section. So you should consider it. You should consider a lot. Okay, for architectural point of view, this image plays a major role, right? So this image plays a major role. So you should be very careful with designing the technical stack at the initial stage. Okay, so because so when you go for native Spring Web Flex, you don't get any servlet feature, so you should consider a lot. Okay, but still we have filters, right? Still we have filters when we yeah, so it's supposed to be web filter, not servlet filter, right? But whatever the features we have in our Spring MVC, right? For exception handling, at exception handling, and at controller advice, right? So those things will still work with our Spring Web Flex also, native Spring Web Flex also. So those things we should no need to worry. And view resolution also still it's same. It will work. Okay, it will work. But anyway, for microservices, no view concept. So that's the reason why we are not touching this view resolution. Okay, so that is the reason why we are not touching view resolution. And we have annotated controller concept in Spring MVC. The same concept we have in the uh, uh, re- reactive programming, right? Spring Web Flex. So all the concepts are same. Like we also have functional endpoint, right? Router function, handler function, right? So no controller, no request mapping, no annotations. Then you can use functional endpoint. So these features are common for MVC and WebFlex also. This feature is common for Spring MVC and WebFlex also. It's going to work for both the scenarios. Okay. Security thing we will discuss later. Okay. So to invoke Spring WebFlex, right? To interact with to invoke service. I mean, to write a client, we need a web client. Anyway, this is what is a recommendation. no more REST template, right? So no more REST template using in our code. So we must use web clients, right? We must use web client. So we will start writing a web client program, right? We will start writing a our client program. So there we will use web client a lot. Okay, there we will use web client a lot. So whatever the features now we have in common, all features are going to be applicable for our mobile accessory, right? So we don't need to write that duplicate that functionality, because we don't need to duplicate that functionality which is already available in the common, right? So that is the reason why we are choosing Tomcat, because we need a servlet support.
Okay. Oh, because of servlet only we are using. Otherwise, we can go with Jetty also, right?
Netty.
Netty. Sorry,
Yeah.
Netty.
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, we need filters, right? Filter support, and so you should write a web filter. I will show one example tomorrow how to write a web filter. So that
In reactive also filters will be there, right? Somehow there also we need. So it's, I think, some different implementation.
it's a
It's
web filter.
there. Web filter instead of a servlet filter.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. But the remaining features like exception handling, annotation controller, functional endpoints, right? All those things will work. View resolvers, everything will work. Okay, just like MEC. Only this particular part, right? So
The servlet and web part is different.
yeah, you just concentrate on this diagram.
Yeah, diagram.
A lot. Okay. So, so tomorrow I will show you how the web, how to write a filter without Spring MVC. But anyway, we are going to use Spring MVC architecture, right? So whatever we made it common, so let's use that common. Okay.
So tomorrow means Monday, right? Sunday is
Not Monday. Yeah, not Sunday. Monday. Sunday is holiday. I will cancel that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, just check your calendar before joining. Okay, I will cancel.
Yeah. Just confirming something changed.
Yeah. So web client is going to be used a lot. Okay, Monday we are going to write our client program. So mostly by Monday we can close it. So Tuesday we will jump into JUnit. Like it's 2 sessions we are going to. We will be. I mean, 2 sessions I will take on JUnit. Then we will jump into security from Tuesday, Wednesday, JUnit, right? So from Thursday we will be jumping into security. So that is the last module in our this one. So once it is completed, we will jumping into microservices, right? Microservices. So there we will discuss what is microservice and what are all the challenges will come, what are all the solutions we can provide. It's like more architectural discussions are going to be happening, okay, in the microservices session. So that will take mostly 10 days, I believe. Okay. So with that we can close our training. Okay. So Tuesday, Wednesday, JUnit. Security is going to be like I believe 4 sessions we needed, 3 to 4 sessions. Okay. I will show a couple of ways we can secure our application. But anyway, we are going to use JWT. Okay. I will show all the examples, but we are going to implement JWT, JSON Web Token. It's like header, we will put it and send it, and it will automatically authenticate. So that is what we are going to implement in our microservices. Later we will jump into microservices architecture. Okay. So the people who has 5+ years of experience, they must know this. This is very, very important.
Yeah, that's
Architectural experience, very, very important. Okay, guys. Thank you. We will meet on Monday. Okay. So we will
sure.
yeah, we will start writing client.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. See you on Monday. Bye bye.